Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In my previous video I uploaded the tutorial of how to cut and sew this Ankara jumbo pants, but I did not explain how to go about the waistband and the rope in that video. This was because I wanted to upload a detailed tutorial on how to go about it. So guys, this particular video will be focused on how to go about this big elastic waistband with rope. So if this is a tutorial you're interested in, please like, comment, share and subscribe. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll just link it up here for you to see. So thank you so much, and let's get right into the video. So guys, I'm done with the joining of every part of this jumbo pant, and the next thing I'll be doing now is to measure the waist of my trouser. So you measure round the waist of the trouser. So in case you are not making a jumbo pant or you are just making a normal pant, so you just go ahead and measure round. But for you to use an elastic band, definitely the waist of your trouser is wider than your actual waist. I hope you get. So now after measuring round, I think I have about 54 inches here. So I have about 54 inches. So I'll go now and cut my band. So because I'm using a 2 inches elastic band, I went ahead to cut this 6 inches. So it is 6 inches. So when I fold it into 2, I have 3. I hope you get. And when I join it, I have 2.5. So I want my elastic to be free inside the band. That's why I added ½ inch extra to the space there. So when this is 6 inches, when I fold it, I have 3. And when I join it to the waist, I have 2.5, and the elastic band is 2 inches. So the elastic band will be a little bit free inside the band. So you can use 2¼ inch, but don't use exactly 2 inches, so that your elastic can move freely inside the band. So you go ahead now and just cut your exact waist measurement. You add your sewing allowance too, so that when you are joining the band, everything can balance out. So I went ahead to cut this, then I'll go ahead and join it. But before I join it, because we'll be adding a rope to this band, what I will do now is to first divide this band into 2. So that's 3 3. Then the next thing I will do is I'll just measure 1 inch. I'll measure 1 inch, so that's the 1 inch. Then I'll measure another 1 inch again. So I will be sewing the first 1 inch. So this first 1 inch I will sew. So the next 1 inch I will leave the space. Then I will sew the rest of this band. I hope you understand. So there will be a 1 inch space there. So this is what I have after I was done sewing. So now the next thing I will do is to flip this, and I will top stitch on both sides of this. So after top stitching, the next thing you will do is to iron your band so that it can be balanced. So just fold it into 2, then you iron it round. So after ironing, if you wish, you can go ahead and just hold the band, like just sew it together. Then after that, you note where the hole is. And make sure that that part is facing the right side of the trouser. So you go ahead and sew, but you don't sew all through. You will leave some space that we'll use to pass the elastic band into the band, the elastic into the band. So now make sure you align the center front. Then you leave at least, let's say, like 5 inches space. So I'm leaving about 5 inches space here, or 4 inches space, just wide enough for you to pass the elastic through it, since we are using a big elastic. So after sewing round, I also went ahead to just weave at the same time, but I left that opening there, so I did not weave that part. So now we'll be using a tiny elastic, this 1 inch elastic. We'll be joining it together to make our 2 inches elastic. If you have your 2 inches elastic, that's fine, you can just use it like that. But if you don't have it, you can just measure your waist twice. So measure your waist twice, then you will cut it, then you will join it together. So you measure your waist twice, then you will cut it into 2, then we'll join it together. You know, when you are working with elastic, you have to reduce your waist. So you can just reduce your waist by about 1 inch, just 1 inch or 2 inches, depending on how you want it. So now I will sew this together. So just place it on each other like this, then you sew till the end. Place it on each other, then you sew. So if you have a zigzag stitch, you can just use it. So I'll be using a zigzag stitch because I prefer to use a zigzag stitch. I'm just showing you that you can use a straight stitch here. So let me use my zigzag stitch to just secure this properly. So you can use a straight stitch, and you can also use a zigzag stitch, but I prefer to use a zigzag stitch, so that's what I'm using now. So now this is what it looks like. So I've secured this twice like that. Then this is what my band looks like. As you can see that it is stretching, so you can just stretch it a little bit so that the thread can ease out. So now this is my elastic band, and I'm working with 28 inches elastic. So this is 28 inches. So now after joining your elastic, you go ahead and pass your safety pin through to the edge, then you pass it through the band. So you pass it through the band. Make sure that when you are passing this band, you don't, this elastic band, you don't twist it. Please make sure you are passing it straight so that it is not twisted. So after you are done, just stretch this out, then you overlap it and sew it together. So I like to overlap, then I will sew like 3 stitch on it. So now just extend it out like this, then you place it on each other and you sew. So you can secure this as much as possible. So I like to sew like 3 times or twice so that I'm sure I am holding the elastic together. If you haven't liked this video, please kindly click on that like button. Thank you. So after that, our elastic is secure, then you allow it to enter into your band. So you just free it inside like that. So you just stretch it out so that the elastic can move inside. So after you are done, so the space you left here, you go ahead and sew, and you also weave the remaining parts. So now I went ahead to weave. The next thing I want to do now is to sew on this elastic band. So I'll be making just 2 lines on this elastic band. So let me show you the detailed process of doing this. So this is the opening for the rope. Then we have to sew like just 2 lines on this elastic band. So first thing you do is to stretch out this elastic band so that it can accommodate all your waistband. So stretch it out very well, and after stretching it out, make sure you just, so use a pin to hold the center front, the center back, and the waist on both sides. So the side, use a pin to hold the elastic like all together with the back, like everything together. Pass a pin through it at the center front, the center back, and also on both sides. I hope you understand, so that when you are stretching your elastic, you can know where to stop, because if you don't hold it, you will notice that one side will be much more than the other. So now start from one point to the other. So I'm starting from the side to the center front. So you stretch that part, so you stretch only that first part, so that first 2 pins, you stretch it out, then you sew. Make sure you stretch it out as you sew. Just exhaust your fabric, don't sew on the fabric. So now I will sew the other part, so from the other point, so from that other point to the other point where the pins are. So I have 4 pins on this trouser, and I'll be sewing from one pin to another. So I've sewn that part. So the next one is from that other pin to this other pin too. So you stretch out your fabric at that point, then you just sew on it. Make sure you are sewing a straight line. So the first one I did was not straight, but this second one I did was very okay. So you go ahead and you stretch out your fabric, then you sew from one pin point to the other. So that's why the pin is there, so that it can guide you on what to do. So if you don't use a pin, it will not be balanced. So you will notice that the fabric is more to one side than the other. So now it's time to sew the second line. So when you are sewing the second line, make sure you leave space at the center that will be enough for your rope to pass through. So don't sew a tiny line, so that when you want to pass your rope, you will not struggle to pass the rope. So you do the same thing, you stretch from one pin point to the other and you sew. Just keep stretching from one pin point to the other. So after you are done now, you cut away your thread, then you remove those pins. So you remove the 4 pins that you place there. So now this is what it looks like, and it came out perfect, so everything is equal. So this is what I have here. So after that, you go ahead and sew your rope. So this rope is about times 2.5 of my waist measurement. So now this is the rope, then you pass your safety pin through it, then you pass the rope from the opening we have at the center front here on the band. So you pass the rope through it. This was the first trouser I made, and I noticed the hole I left on this one was too tiny, so I have to loosen one out of it, and I pass the rope through it. Ensure you leave at least about 3/4 or 1 inch for your rope to pass through. So this is what it looks like, and it came out perfect, beautiful, and everything is nice. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, like this video, share this video with your friends, and also drop a comment for me in the comment section. So thank you so much, and I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.